You are tuned in to What a Baltimore Online Radio. Please note that the views and opinions expressed are of the host and not of Lady J Media. Thank you and enjoy the show. Thank you for joining Mental Wellness Coaching with DWendell. Your session begins right now.
Good morning. Well, it's afternoon actually, so good afternoon. How are you? How are you today? It is today. This day would not be possible without you here. This day would not be possible without you here. You bring a uniqueness to the table. You are a special individual. Understand that. You are a special individual. Today we're going to just logistically let's talk about a few things. I told you that I'm building my website, and it's not quite ready yet. We expect to launch it. It was supposed to be this week. We'll see what happens. But I want to thank SLR Consulting 123 at gmail.com. They're actually helping me with my site and with the content. She is doing a marvelous job, just a wonderful job. And you will see when the website is completed. Secondly, you see my telephone number there scrolling across the bottom of the screen, 240-626-6849, and my email, heartmindconnection at icloud.com. You can call in for any questions you may have or statements you may have with regarding to this show today. Let's jump right into it. There are a couple of things that I'm open up about this morning or this afternoon, specifically certain words. So let me set the tone with the environment that we're in. This environment, this society that we live in, the focus of the society is mainly around separation, separation, trying to uh, separate not only life events, but separate us in terms of being able to compartmentalize things. In other words, I have been a mental health practitioner for over 30 years, and one of the things that I had noticed about even when in private practice, when people, individuals such as yourself, would come in and have, say, a mental health issue, and so we would begin to address the issue of the depression, the anxiety, the bipolar disorder, whatever the case may have been. We began to attempt to address that. Medications for it, and I'm not averse to medication. Uh, and so if you're on medication, I'm not telling you to stop. However, the reality was we would tend to treat or attempt to treat the mental illness or the issue apart from the person. Yeah, it would include the person, but at the same time, we will go in and say, well, say you had specific symptoms, and that's what practitioners do. We actually, and doctors too, we treat the symptom, and we don't address the core issue. So if it were, say, some signs or indicators of depression, we would give you medication, tell you some regime to follow, something to do to alleviate the symptom and not getting to the core of the issue. At least that's the way the practices that I've been a part of, that's the way we function. We have said earlier on the program that mental health therapy, it doesn't always go to the core issue. It doesn't always. What you find is that you find yourself in a protracted relationship where you're spending a lot of time on a couch talking about your issues, and 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 I don't know how much resolve you get through that process. What we do here at One Mind, One Heart is we focus on mental wellness. We focus on mental wellness, how to teach you how to capture your thoughts and change your reaction to specific situations or thoughts. That's the way we process things. A couple of things here. I want to look at two or three words today. Two or three words. One term we hear a lot of is at risk. At risk. We're going to look at that, and we're going to look at this expression that's come to the forefront a lot in our thinking today, in our system of doing things. It's generational wealth. It's titled. It's called generational wealth. So let's break this down just a little bit so we can talk about it and answer the questions you might have. For example, with everything going on in our society today, with the pandemic, the other health issues that we have, we've lost track, as it were, of some of the mental health challenges that people are facing. We've been so focused on the pandemic as well as it should be. Recently, though, when you look at it recently, you'll see that there's more coming out of people with mental health issues, mental illness issues, people reaction and responding to various life circumstances. Remember, we said when you're working with life circumstances, you cannot control what comes into your life. Excuse me. You cannot control what comes into your life. The only thing you can control is your response to the circumstance, the response. And depending on how you respond, your body reacts or responds to your response. So when the thought comes in, when the event comes into your life, and you respond to it in any particular way, um, then your mind instructs your brain, excuse me, your brain instructs your body something to do. Your body release endorphins, release adrenaline, whatever the case may be. So you find yourself tensing up, your heartbeat increases, all these sort of things, and it's in response to that event. So when you examine your response to the event, then you have the opportunity to control more. Allow me to share something with you. Every country in every country in the world, every country in the world is facing and failing to tackle the mental health crisis from from epidemics of depression and anxiety to conditions caused by violence and trauma. According to a review that was done worldwide. So, follow the thread, because there is such a crisis going on with regard to these things, the countries have to decide where to focus and how to focus their resources and their attention. So we what that comes down to or equates to is longer waits to maybe see a therapist, longer waits to get some resolve or some assistance, which speaks to the fact that you have to excuse me, excuse me, please. You have to take responsibility for your own well-being. You have to begin to take responsibility for your own well-being. And what happens with that, because we are so accustomed to someone telling us what to do, someone telling us how to react, someone telling us a path to follow. As an example, I have on the internet. I since I've become or been diagnosed as a diabetic, I have not seen so many commercials and professionals come out talking about blood sugar and diabetes and various things. Everybody now has a solution and a cure. I'm not knocking those things, but what I am saying is that I have not learned to trust my own body's response to specific things. If I listen to my body, then I can trust my body and my response. The- I hope that I pray that makes sense to you because your body will give you signals. For example, um, you have to know that when I was speaking earlier about how the system has taught us to separate things. This for here, this partition things off. This for this for this, and this for that. Um, Consequently, because I've learned to separate things, when I hear an instruction that says, for example, your body is a finely tuned instrument, as it were. It is one. It's one thing. I can't think of another word right now. It is one thing. So what you eat does affect and impact how you feel. It does affect and impact what you're feeding your brain. So for example, there is scientists and researchers have found that there is a direct correlation between what you eat and how you feel. Direct correlation between what you eat and how you feel. There was there's a notion, I guess I don't know, that you can eat tons and tons, as it were, of sugar and it not affect you. Well, what happens? It begins to affect you because it affects your thinking. Your brain cannot function off of the sugar fix. So when you don't feed them right nutrients, when you don't do simple exercise, and that's one of the things that I've had to have been working on. Walking, simple as walking, how that can impact not only your daily activity, but it impacts your whole body. It impacts how you feel. So again, we are one body. It is one system, and excuse me, we have to be able to maintain that. Now to get into a couple of these two words that I have for this morning, this afternoon. One was generational wealth. Generational wealth, which is a very good thing. Passing handing money down or having an established system in the family of gaining and maintaining wealth is a wonderful notion. Excuse me, is a wonderful notion and idea. The question that I have with regard to that, though, we have to pass down. Let me state it this way. Do you think, and you can respond, call me, tell me, send me a question. Do you think money is the fix-all for whatever you need? That if you have enough resources, if you have enough money, that you will have fewer problems with more money. Now, I often talk about going to your power source. Our power source here, we support the notion that God is our power source. I'm not talking about religion or denomination or doctrine or anything like that. I'm talking about God Himself as your source of strength and power. And given that, there's an account given in the Bible of a young man who he had made big money. He had made so much money that he said to himself, he talked to him, he said to himself, "Self, what are you going to do with all this money that you have?" And Self said, "I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll tear down our barns, tear down those old barns, and let's build new ones, fresh ones, larger ones. And then we'll store all of our everything that we've gained, we'll store it in there. That's what we'll do." Well, as the account goes forward, the account says that God said to him tonight, said to him, "Tonight thy food, thy soul is required of thee." So the emphasis of the statement supports the notion that money will not solve the problem. Money will not solve the problem. Look at, read the papers, or listen to the news, or talk to your friends. That people that have money have so many other problems. I'm not knocking money. I mean, it's good to have a few dollars. It is absolutely good. I wish I had been wiser earlier with regard to resources. You have to understand, though, you have to have a right relationship with money, with finances. There are a lot of courses out here now that teach about uh, um, teaching kids how to manage money and what to do with money. So, so my premise is that we have to begin to teach character. We have to begin to teach integrity. We have to begin to teach honesty and transparency. Those things matter. Those things matter. And if we don't have those things, then we're actually worse. We're in a worse position than before we had money. So we must teach and share with the next generation, with those we come in contact with. Uh, People, there was an expression, and it still is, that it takes a village to raise a child. What if, or what will happen when we all become mentors? Not necessarily mentors of in a particular group, but what if those more mature of us begin to share knowledge and wisdom about character with everyone we meet? One of the problems, one of the problems that we have, uh, those mature among us, those one of the challenges that we have to face is we feel like we are not needed by the next generation. they have a tendency to push us out of the way. Um, but one of the important things about staying viable in life is to stay relevant, to be able to share knowledge, to be able to pass on knowledge without anything expected in return. So that's my statement about generational wealth, um, and passing it down. Not so much the dollars and the cents, as much as the knowledge, the sharing of the teaching and sharing of integrity, the teaching and sharing of character, how important character is. The other word that I wanted to look at today was that term at risk. Um, we hear of groups of people working with the at risk population, youth at risk, people at risk of being homeless. Newsflash to a degree, we are all at risk. Everyone is at risk. We're at risk of disease. We're at risk of bad influences. Everyone is at risk. And I say that because when we, sometimes the terms we use, sometimes the terms we use, sometimes the terms we use do more to damage us than to help us. We have to learn, we have to decide to speak life. I said that's exactly what I meant to say. We must decide to speak life to everyone we meet. Speak life. Speak words of encouragement. And I'm not referencing false encouragement where we're just trying to feather someone's nest. No, speak life. Speak life into those we meet. Uh, be excited about life. There is, coming back to this idea and this notion of power. When you are well connected to your power source, well connected, and we'll talk a second about how to be well connected, then you know there are no circumstances that can come up in your life that God has not prepared you for. God has prepared you for and equipped you with the tools and resources necessary to move through that circumstance. No question about it. And not only has he equipped you, not only has he prepared you, but he shields you. He shields you from being destroyed by that event. Now, understand, life events do have outcomes that are not to our liking or choosing. We would not choose an outcome, a particular outcome that happens. But because it happens, we have to know that you're equipped to handle it. Because when you get off rails, when you get off track, and you allow the event to handle you, then you become a victim. And we speak here about not being a victim, but being a victor, overcoming whatever the situation may be. Now, understand that the way we do that, the way you become a victor over being a victim, is you have to make a decision to spend time with your power source. We're saying here, you have to make a decision that you're going to spend time with God. What does that mean? What does that spending time with God even look like? Well, one term I like to use is entering into a deliberate rest. Just a point of, and I choose to do mine. I choose I choose to do mine in the morning. And the way I do it in the morning, I spend about 10, 15 minutes meditating, being thankful. I woke up this morning. And I don't go deep into the day and say I got all these problems confronting me today. You know, that's one of the things that happened with the pandemic. We could not, excuse me, you had to learn a different way of doing things, a different way of doing things. And the way I chose to express that and interpret that was that every opportunity that comes my way, I see everything as an opportunity. So it's not, it's an opportunity to maybe one, learn something new. It's an opportunity to learn a different way to learn a different way to interact with people. It's an opportunity to have a different experience with people. And what happens with that, when you take the time to see the opportunity to learn something different, then your experience changes. And when your experience changes, then your outcome is impacted by the change. So you learn to see this person differently. You learn to listen to them differently. And that becomes a life building experience. So that means that now that you poured something different into the cup, you poured something different in, now you have something different to pour out. You don't see the negativity in everything. You don't see everything as an opportunity to grab and gather for yourself more. Hard lesson, but it's a true lesson. It's a true reality of what opportunities you have before you. So when I say a directed rest, you take time away from morose thoughts and thinking. Take time away. Just rest. Whatever uh, the Pepco bill or the electric bill, the car note is due. You need food items in your home, your work. I was speaking to a lady the other day, and she was saying that her work has become overwhelming. Her work is overwhelming. They keep giving her more and more to do. Or she has to organize herself in a better and different way all the time. That's wonderful. Now, that's wonderful because you must, and we said it last week or 2 weeks ago, you must know why you are on that particular job. You must understand why you are in a particular relationship. Why do you allow this person to be a part of your life? Why are you a part of someone's life? I go away just. I had a dear friend of mine, and I'll just call her Lisa. And the question came up. I wondered, there were so many things going on in my life, and people were bringing complaints. I mean, powerful complaints. You're not this, and you're not that. And Lisa asked me to ask them, each individual, the one question, and it's coming back to your power source, to your God. Why did God allow you to be placed in this situation? What is God teaching you in this particular situation? You have a person in your life that's draining you. You have a person in your life that's always taking, and they're not giving, they're not feeding back into your life. They're not giving you anything. Why? What is God teaching you in this particular situation? What is it you are to learn? Instead of instead of battling the situation, instead of complaining constantly about the situation, instead of just being negative and drained by the situation, seek to know what you are to learn out of this experience. And once we gather and gain what we're supposed to learn, then you don't have to keep coming back over the same ground over and over again. A friend of mine had an expression, I think I shared it with you. His mother taught him, handle things once. Handle things once. In other words, when you come in the house, hang up your coat instead of throwing it. Now, all of us have habits, and they're not good habits. Anyway, instead of throwing your clothes down on the floor, instead of kicking your shoes off at the door, put the shoes where they belong. Put the pants or the clothes or wherever they belong. Do the clothes hampers or whatever. And you don't have to come back and handle it again. What will happen when you apply that to your everyday life? When people come and people, those who come to you and feed, they don't feed. And what happens when you hear so much of this stuff over and over again, you begin to take it on as if it's yours. It's not yours. It's not yours. So don't take it on like that. So again, this is part of the notion and the idea of entering into a directed, deliberate rest. Rest from these cares and these problems that are tracking you and hounding you down. And not only is it a spirit of rest that you're meditating on, it is the notion and spirit of thankfulness. What would your life turn to? What would be your life when you're just thankful? Thankful that this came your way, whatever it is. And I'm not trying to take the sting out of the reality of the situation, but I am presenting to you that when you take on uh, the notion that you're thankful that this happened because you it came your way for a reason. So don't buy into, don't feed yourself the falsity, the lie that this thing has come um, to destroy you. Take on the notion that this thing has come to build some part of my character, to prepare me for a next step. The expression that life, these things that come, these stumbling blocks, turn into stepping stones. I am not suggesting at all that you do anything. I am suggesting strongly that you are able to turn to your power source, that you have to learn to communicate with your God, because communication with your God will change even your perspective of a particular thing. And is that say we won't have pain? Absolutely, we will. We will endure some pain. Uh, we will endure some circumstances. Endure. Key word is endurance. The key. You are in the midst of a situation. Understand this. Try to grasp your mind around this. When you were created, when you were birthed into the world, you were birthed, you were born with a special talent and gift, one that fits perfectly into this puzzle of life. Fits perfectly. Yeah, I'm not a big jigsaw puzzle fan, um, but those I have friends who love jigsaw puzzles, and I've seen them. I've watched them put these puzzles together, 800-piece, 1,000-piece puzzles, whatever. They put them together and they have a strategy. And the strategy that they used was to get all the edges and put all that around for itself. Had, one thing they always had access to was the picture of the completed puzzle on the box. They could always look back at that completed puzzle on the box, and they would be able to bring it together, not with speed, but with consistency and finding the pieces that fit. You are a piece of the puzzle of life. And when we spoke earlier about how the system of this world tries to teach us to separate everything, sometimes we believe, sometimes we believe we are a larger part of the puzzle than we are. Sometimes we think we actually believe we are the whole puzzle. I am the puzzle, not just a piece, but I am the puzzle. And when we begin to take on that notion, that thought process, then we actually separate ourselves from everyone else. We separate us because we say, and again, I'm coming back to the Bible itself. The Bible says, I think it's in Corinthians, one of the things that the Bible says that don't get it twisted. We're all parts of the body. Our body, your body, my body is made up of parts that work together. In other words, my hand, my fingers, they're called digits, my fingers, my fingernails, my knee, my everything you have, your ears, everything has a part to play. One of the most magnificent things that I got to see was how your eyes, for example, work. How the pupil and the iris and at the back of the eye there's a camera. It's so wonderful, and all these things work together. I want to pick up this telephone here. I have to reach for it with my hand. My brain has to tell my hand to reach out for it, and my fingers, everything works together. So if my finger says stop it, I am the most important part of this whole process. I'm most important. Then what kind of foolishness is that? Because it all works together for the good. And for example, again, I think I've mentioned here that one of the gifts I wish I had gotten coming out of the womb was the gift of being able to sing. I wanted to be able to sing. Now, I'm not sure every time an artist comes on, I want to sound like him. Marvin Gaye wanted to sound like him. Teddy Pendergrass wanted to sound like him. And the list goes on. And I didn't get that gift. As a matter of fact, um, um, uh, sometimes people have encouraged me not to sing. I was going to sing at a particular event a few weeks ago, and almost unanimously, my friends had gathered and they collectively, I said, I'm going to sing. I had reserved. They said, don't sing. Now, some of us would find that offensive, but I took it for what it was. But my point is this. My point is this. Um, don't ever think you're a bigger piece of the puzzle than you are. You're no more important than anyone else. We get this notion in our head sometimes that the janitor is least important of everyone, or the sanitation engineers who collect our trash and garbage. Let me let me let me ask you this: if they did not come around and collect your garbage, Mr. Big Shot, Miss Big Shot, what would you do? When you need that fine watch of yours, when you need it tuned or fixed, what do? Again, we cannot think that we're a bigger piece of the puzzle than we are because that's the system that we live in. The system wants to make us believe we're more than we are, and we're not. We're not. We are a part of. We are a part of the big picture. And when you appreciate and recognize your part, when you engage in your part, then it becomes even more special. So again, today, I thank you for spending this time with us at One Mind, One Heart, Heart Mind Connection at iCloud.com. And the words we were focused on today were at risk. We're all at risk. We're all at risk of trying to think we are more than we are. We are at risk of, of cowering or falling apart because of circumstances that come in our lives. We're at risk. And the only way to overcome, to be successful, to be the victor and not the victim of circumstances, is to recognize your strength and to stay connected to your power source, which is God, in our thinking, which is God. And there's process. There's process. We are we're launching our online program, our mental wellness program. We expect to have it up within the next week or so. Um, uh, with the web page, we're diligently working on it. I thank you for that. And by the time I speak to you next week, I should be able to tell you where you can go with my website, um, and how to sign up and register for our online mental wellness course. This thing is exciting. It's packed, and we do it medication. Please don't stop taking your medication if you're on medication. We are adding an element to your life and process. And the outcome is something marvelous and exciting because you're gonna get your life back. You're taking back your life. Everything that you've given away, everything that you've lost by course of bad decisions, by course of selfish acts and wrong deeds, you're going to be able to regain that and more. You're going to be such a more powerful individual. I am excited. I am excited. I'm taking the course myself. I had to take the course myself because, you know, what is that expression? Into each life, a little rain may fall, must fall, must fall. You would have your challenges, you would have your ups and downs. I thank you for spending this time with us today. I look forward to hearing from you. Until then, I wish you mental wellness. Remember, you are the victor, no longer the victim. Thank you. I'll see you next week.